Nicole here, and welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to talk about creativity and inspiration and where I find both. So let's just get into it. So I started my photography journey at the young age of 22. So that was the first time I picked up a camera. I played with it, I tested it out, I photographed friends and family, etc. And even back then, I always had a love for color. I had a love for textures, different fabrics, etc. And trying out colorful or different makeup on the models and the clients I was shooting back then at that time. And those particular aspects have continued to be a vital part of my photography and something I really love to shoot and showcase in my work. So even from an earlier standpoint, I noticed my creativity in that regard of trying out new things, seeing how it worked out, and just playing around with a lot of different things. And I think starting with that early helps me out with the trial and error that all of us photographers go through. I wasn't afraid to just get in the studio or just go outside, because at that time I did actually shoot outside more because I didn't have like a studio like I did now. I had my living room, and then I did some shoots outdoors in the environment of Dallas. So I'm going to show you guys some of my earlier work so you can see what I'm talking about as far as me liking different colors, different type of backdrops, and just getting a bit creative. Okay, so let's talk about where I get my inspiration from to do my images. Me personally, I can get inspiration from everywhere. I can leave my house and walk down the street and see a color, and all of a sudden entire shoot based on that color will enter my mind. Or sometimes when I sleep, I dream of entire shoots. I can see, you know, a skirt and then want to you know, build a whole shoot around that particular skirt. Not that I even owned that skirt, but something about that skirt piqued an interest in my mind for something else that I could do. So this is something I have always been able to do. I know not everyone has this capability, but for me, this is, you know, the world is full of inspiration to me. Just everywhere I look, there is something that I can see that I can be inspired by. However, I do also have other avenues that I can find inspiration, and those I am going to share with you, because we all need, you know, a little inspiration here and there if we just don't have it in our minds, or we just like to look at what other photographers or other artists are doing and, you know, see if we can get some inspiration that way. So here are some of my top places to get inspiration. Okay, so number one is probably going to be Pinterest. And we all know about Pinterest. We all know how much just awesome pictures and awesome inspo for anything is on there. I personally like to enter something in the search, like, you know, a red hat or decor flowers, because at the moment I am doing a flower book. So inputting something floral, and it just pops up so many different ideas, so many different images, so many different ways something can be done. And I can see something in an image and be like, oh yeah, that's cool. And, you know, not specifically doing that same image, but just taking something out of the image, taking something out of another image, and then putting it together or to make something different. So that is my number one go-to place, I would say, when I want to find other avenues of inspiration, or just look at what other people are doing, because that's always cool to do. It's always cool to see what other people are doing in their own creative outlets. So number 2 is going to be Instagram. Okay, so you know, Instagram is a big, huge part. If you're a photographer and you're marketing yourself, Instagram is going to be something you're already on. It's probably something you use every day, maybe an hour or two a day, and there is so many fabulous images on Instagram from photographers, etc. Again, like Pinterest. However, Instagram is more, you know, photo focused, on people showcasing their own work, versus kind of Pinterest, where people are just posting and pinning different things, whether it's their work or someone else's, etc., to share. Instagram, yeah, I can spend like an hour on Instagram marketing, you know, myself, as well as looking at images from my favorite people I like to look at and see what they're up to currently, new work. There's so many different Instagram like pages where it's a compilation of a lot of different photographers or artists' work. So Instagram is, again, you know, Pinterest and Instagram are both number one to me. They're really good at giving you inspiration if you need it. Okay. Okay, so number 3 for me is going to be Fashion Gone Rogue. Now this is a website, if you do fashion, beauty, commercial type of things, if you're interested in that, Fashion Gone Rogue is a good website for that. It has all the updated fashion editorials that are in the magazines. It has the updated ads and commercial ads that are latest trends, etc. So if you are in the fashion, beauty community, commercial photography community, and you want to keep up with trends, you want to see what's happening now, so to say, Fashion Gone Rogue is a good place to look. And they also accept editorials from photographers as well, so that is an option. And so that is going to be my number 3. So number 1, Pinterest. Number 2, Instagram. Number 3, Fashion Gone Rogue. And number 4 is going to be Behance. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you have heard of Behance. Behance is a site that I think it's run by Adobe. So it's very geared towards artists, retouchers, photographers, digital artists, illustrators, etc. There's so much good photos and good talent on Behance. I go there. I don't frequent it as much as the other 3 I spoke about. I would say the 2 I frequent the most is going to be Pinterest and Instagram. But once in a while I will go on Behance and see what's new there, what particular photographers or illustrators or retouchers I follow, to see what they are coming up with next. Behance is a place where you can upload your entire editorial or the entire project in one upload, versus, you know, kind of how on Instagram you do one image here, one image there. On Behance you can upload your entire project, which makes it nice to see everything all at once instead of posting one here, one there, etc. Okay, so these are the top 4 places I get inspiration from, so definitely check those out. Okay, so the next question is, who are some photographers that inspire me personally? So it's a tie with the first 2. One is going to be Mr. Tim Walker. Yeah, Mr. Tim Walker is going to be one. I just adore his work. I adore his mindset of his shoots. The teams are awesome. The styling, the makeup, the models. So much goes into them, and it's just always amazing when I see his work, because it's like, wow, you know. So Tim Walker is gonna be one of my ties for number 1. So, okay, so tied for number 1 is going to be Christian Schuler. Okay, I have both of his books. Actually, I think he's probably a little bit above Tim Walker, but I really enjoy both of them, so I'm just gonna tie both of them for number 1 because they're both so awesome. Christian Schuler is like my spirit animal photographer. I mean, I just adore everything he does. Both of these books are fabulous. If you do not have them and you're into fashion type of work, I recommend you getting both of his books. I mean, you know, he does stuff like this, and I find him very inspiring. I just can't really speak highly enough of him. Everything he does is just so fabulous to me, and it's the type of work I would love to do. It's the type of work that when I see it, I'm just so in awe, and I'm just so inspired, and it makes me personally want to get into my studio and just create. So if I'm sitting here, I will pull out these books and I will just look through them. I've looked through them hundreds of times, and every time, even now, still when I look through them, I'm just super excited to open them up and see something that I might have missed earlier, or just be in awe because they're just so fabulous to me. So these 2 photographers are going to be my 2 most top photographers I have been inspired by for quite a while. Third would be Solveig Sundsbo. I hope I said that right. He is a Norwegian photographer, but he lives in London and works out of London and New York. Very popular. If you're into fashion, you have heard of Solveig Sundsbo. Okay, so he does a lot of mainstream type of fashion work, but he also does some really cool creative fashion and beauty work as well. So those are going to be my top 3. Of course, there are many other photographers that I am inspired by. Nadine Jawara, I'm not sure if I'm saying her name correctly, but she is a fellow black female photographer out of London, and I enjoy her work as well. So that answers that question. I would love to see who inspires you. So leave a comment below and tell me who are some of your favorite photographers who inspire you to get into the studio and, you know, shoot some awesome stuff. Let me know below. In my Facebook group, I asked you guys if you had any questions on creativity, etc. And now I'm going to answer some of the ones that you guys asked me, and so forth. Okay, so number 1, can creativity be taught? And that's an interesting question. I feel like some people are naturally creative with their thoughts. Naturally, it comes easy to them. I feel like I am one of those people. I don't struggle too much with trying to be creative or finding creative ideas. And they don't take a lot of time and struggle for me to do. However, some people do struggle with this. They're not necessarily creative. There are a lot of technical photographers out there, technical with their lighting. They're just excellent at that. However, they struggle a little bit on the creative side as far as not making all of their technically sound photos look the same. So for those type of people, I do feel like there is a natural creativity that comes naturally to some people, but I do feel like you can teach some people how to see things differently or how to look at things a bit more creatively. So I think you can teach certain aspects of it. It won't come natural to them. They might not ever see things how a naturally creative person can just automatically get inspired by things, but you can teach them how to look at things differently, how to look at something and then try to plan and add other elements to it to make a different type of shot that they normally would not have done. Okay, I hope that answers that. Yeah. So number 2 is, how do I push through creative slumps? Yeah, creative slumps is something we all have. It's something we have all experienced probably. For me personally, I have not had that many creative slumps. As I said before, creativity and things, ideas for shoots runs through my mind all the time. I have to like write them down. For me, when I'm in a kind of creative slump, it's due to personal issues, or I'm too busy shooting some client work to where I'm not necessarily being able to be my creative self. It's, you know, when you're doing client work, it's how they want the shoot to go, and that's how it is. You might not be able to get full-on creative as you normally would if you're doing personal work or another type of client work. So those are generally my type of creative slumps that I get into. But generally, if you're in a type of creative slump, just, you know, go out, go for a walk, go to a museum, just look at if you have photo books like I do. There's many different ways just to get yourself out of creative slumps. Sometimes you just have to take a step back for a day or 2 or a week and just clear your mind, and, you know, just let those ideas and that creativity just come back to you. It will come back to you at its own time. Don't try to force it. But you, like I said, you can do things to help it. For me personally, I'll go out for a walk just to enjoy the nature. I'll look at my photo books that I showed you earlier. I'll look at maybe Pinterest, Instagram, and all of those type of things will refuel that fire and passion in me if I feel it's slumping a bit. Okay, so I think that's all the questions I had. Currently, I only gave everyone about a couple hours to ask me questions, so I'll probably get a few more after this goes live, but that's okay. So, but I do want to challenge you guys to do something creative, do a creative shoot. Find one object, whether it's a color, whether it's something tangible, etc. Find one object that excites you and try to build an entire shoot around that. If it's the color red, try to go get some red fabrics or some red flowers or some red things you can spray paint red, and try to use them in some way on a shoot. Whether it's a spoon, fine, go get some plastic spoons and make a cool looking plastic spoon necklace. Or if it's, you know, flowers, take some flowers and try to make some little headpiece or some little neck piece that you can work into your photo shoot. Okay, so if you are a member of my Facebook group, and if you're not, please join. But I want to see, I want you to tell me what your object is and what type of shoot you have planned to do with it and how to use it. But that is my challenge to all of you guys. Find one object, find one color, find something, and build an entire shoot around it. Alright guys, so that is it for today. If you like my videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell so you can get notifications when I have new videos available for you guys. If there's a video you want to see me do, just comment below and I will see if it's something that I can do for you guys. And yeah, that is going to be it for today. So enjoy your day, guys. Bye.